So, we're going to screen a few pictures out of the book we've done together over the last 2 years almost. And Raghu has been showing his pictures about France, about my country, which has been traveling to for a few decades, and where he has a lot of respect and friends. And proposed that we put in regard some of the pictures I shot in India. So I'm very honored. I'm very impressed by Raghu's reputation, and I was delighted to do it. And we had a lot of fun, and for me a lot of learning over the last 2 years. I mean, he has a great eye, and I think it's one of the best, most enjoyable experience. And basically, we have the two of us. We have a great love for each other's country, and also for photography. So, shall we start? This is just the first picture I put in the book on my side. I think it needs no introduction to an Indian audience, but one of the most fascinating for a foreigner coming to your country is Bollywood, honestly. You produced more films, movies than anywhere else, like 2,000 a year, and it resonates everywhere in the high society, in the villages, and something is fascinating. So, and it's for maybe you don't notice, but for foreigner coming, it's everywhere on the wall, on the TVs, everywhere, and it's like a overarching presence when you just raise your eyes in the streets. This was during COVID, and that's the North Delhi railway station, and these were migrants going back to UP. And everybody was really in distress. I mean, it was very saddening moments, and you see that people were just fleeing for lack of ways of sustaining themselves in the city. And in the middle of that, you could see some amazing beauty. I mean, this lady with her eyes. I mean, she would be a model in my country, in Europe, and she had a very proud bearing in spite of all the hardship, everything. And I must say, I was a bit. I was very struck moved by the scene. This is also one thing that strikes me a lot.
May I say something?
Oh yeah, please.
You see, now this is a very ordinary picture. Straight. You know, they saw him with a camera and they stand there. But the way they stand there, they are so much there. This is the ordinariness of daily life, which brings out the warmth and characters of the people. You know, this is what is. He is a senior diplomat, but he is a gentleman and a sensitive human being. So you'll see many of the pictures, I mean, very simply taken, and they bring out the essence of those people. They are there in front of him. So don't think it's just a click, you know, and everybody's standing and looking at you. But they are so much there. This is like a character portrait in the streets. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu. And what I wanted to convey, I mean, obviously when you have teenagers everywhere, it's always touching because you see that they're seeking to assert their individuality, their personality. But I think that for these kids right now in India, when the country is transforming, there's some mobility, also some pressure of a group. I think this, and that they are seeking to also to grab some foreign influences. I think this is really striking, and you can see the extraordinary efforts. They are visible even in their behavior, the way they dress, and that's something that I thought very striking. Well, that's Varanasi, obviously, and that's people or elder son, brushing their teeth with a neem tree, and also preparing to light after the fire. So it's again, I mean, there's no comparison in my country, in Europe these days, with religion. Religion is such a present spirituality in India. I mean, we have a religion which is now in our countries very much into a private space, very much more austere, much less visible. And when you step in India, and obviously in a city like Varanasi, it's something which is quite very striking. Raghu, you're going to say a word about this one, because this one I had not selected, and Raghu took it from the dustbin, and I think he's very convincing.
Yes. Look at the warmth he gets. You see, when we walk into a situation, no matter who we are, we carry certain energy, certain aura about ourselves, and other people also have certain aura about them. But when you walk in with a camera, that camera is a bit obtrusive, thing between the spaces. But look at the way this girl has responded, because his energy is so gentle and neutral that she's literally welcoming him with that warm smile. Man, this cannot happen anywhere else in the world. This can happen only in India. People are so simple-hearted and so loving and so joyful. She looks like an angel just landed here for me. Over to you.
Well, that's a photo I took in Mumbai at the Central Railway Station. I was trying to shoot some photos about the space, the place for women in India, and very partial, very can't make an opinion in a few months or years in the country. But I was struck there by this compartment, ladies only, and there you would see women inside. I know it's not the purpose or anything, but it looks like they are behind a grillage, or I wouldn't say jail, but somewhere a bit locked in the compartment. And I know that the idea with this special compartment is to protect women from harassment or for any form of trouble in the train. But as we say, I don't know if you... I think that's an English expression. Hell is paved with good intentions. And for me, it seems that the sort of good-willing policy, that looks a bit odd. I wouldn't say it's counterproductive, it looks a bit odd.
Yeah, very nice. Can you imagine this is also in India?
No, does anybody knows where it is? No? Where? No, not Calcutta. It's in Lucknow. It's a place called La Martinière. At the beginning of the 19th century, you had former officers from the Napoleonic Wars, and they, after France lost to Britain at Waterloo, they got unemployed, and some of them, which were brilliant officers, came to India to serve Indian rulers. And well, it's always good for us to fight against the British. So they helped the Indian rulers against the British, and they formed the army. And some became really wealthy and also very influential. And there was a guy called Claude Martin who stayed in Lucknow. And he was quite a genius. He was an officer, but also a doctor, some sort of philosopher. And he became wealthy because at one point he also worked for the East Indian Company. But at the end, he decided that he would give all his money to build schools. And today you have a school in Lucknow called La Martinière. You have another one in Calcutta and another one in France in Lyon. And what I like is the style is a very peculiar mix, and for me it symbolizes the certain capacity in India to agglomerate different influences, to merge them, not to reject anything, just to work by addition, not subtraction, to add. And so you have elements from different styles in Europe and a lot of movements. And for me, it's very symbolic about the way this process of assimilation works in India. Well, that's the same place. Huh? Yeah, you should go.
Very well composed.
For those who have not been there, it's an amazing place, and it's, by the way, it's also a great school. I know.
This is a vertical frame, isn't it?
Not really. That's no. That's a board.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
school.
I'm sorry. Yeah. From daily life, ordinary daily life, to architecture, to abstract, That's the kind of forms he's captured, the textural details, grays and blacks.
That's just a board that has been repaired, and that's what I like also here. I love in India is this capacity just to find solution to things, and it works. I mean the education works, the schools are good, and sometimes there's not that much resources, but it's smart. I don't know what I think there's a word you said you got, and it's amazing. I mean, on the macro level, that's how you manage to send rockets or soon men or women in space with maybe 1/10 of the resources the US or other countries would devote to that. And I think that's an amazing capacity, and that's on the small scale in that school. That's I thought really amazing. I mean, just the board has been repaired just like this, and it works. There's some sort of complexity for me in India sometimes, and when I was faced with this library, I was a bit puzzled.
This shows the respect we have for the books.
But again, it works. So
Yeah.
when I go through Old Delhi on certain cities, I see this maze of these networks which are so intricate. I say, okay, it's very...
No, I think it's related to the power crisis that we are having today. See the chaos. I mean, anywhere it can explode and disconnect many circuits, in the process. And it makes sense for sure, it's very graphic.
It's really amazing. Again, I mean, it's these statues and presence you have everywhere watching you. I mean, is really something special. But also this, I think, this capacity sometimes to turn them into to humanize things. I mean, things are not, for me, are never extremely formal or extremely. There's a lot of humanity and sometimes some humor. This there for me.
No,
It's maybe
very
it's not
symbolic.
volunteer.
It's not humor, because Bapu was a peace-loving man. So a pigeon sitting on his head and on his ears confirms that he was really a peace-loving, which we blown up.
True.
What a delight. I have been to Jama Masjid a million times. When I saw this moment, हमारे पंजाबी में बोलते हैं कीकली, you know, which is also in North India. What a joyful act inside Jama Masjid, where usually they prefer people to be in prayers or in serious moments. They especially, I think they knew that the French ambassador was visiting them.
Not at all. It's not staged at all, Raghu. It's
Beautiful.
I've been back, I think, 100 times after that to take the same picture again. Never happened. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But yeah, no, that's the and again, that's the joyful thing I think about religion in your country. I mean, in our countries, religion is much more what we call laic countries, much more established, much more austere, much more. We don't see these bursts of joy for festival or just at random like this. Oh, that's a less joyful part. I'm sorry. We're going to have 3 or 4 photos which are not joyful at all, which are about the I took during the second wave of COVID. I mean, I was like everybody very moved by what was
But
going
that's
on.
not being very diplomatic, you know, here.
What?
Look at the fear in her eyes, you know. You get into the lives of ordinary people and capture fear. That's not being diplomatic.
You think one should?
That's being more human.
You think one shouldn't take picture like this?
No, one should. You've done a great. This is beautiful, you know. See this fear in her eyes and the way she's clinging in a corner, you know. Amazing.
No, what was terrible is that you remember that time. I mean, families were only allowed to have 2 persons to come to around the pyre during the cremation, and a lady like this one was so scared. You could see in her eye that she couldn't even move and go to the pyre to attend the ceremony. And that was one of the terrible things. I mean, during that period. I mean, besides people suffocating and things, but that you couldn't mourn your people properly and things. I thought it was a very sad and distressing thing to see. And I thought I should keep maybe a small record of that for. Well, that's. Yeah, this one was struck me also. That's the cremation ground after in the morning, so as you remember, many parking lots and places had been re-engineered or to serve as and for me it looked like a battleground after a battle. But a battle you cannot lose, you cannot win, which was very also sad, because you were just bringing the dead out. But the ordinary battle, sometimes you lose, but sometimes you win. There was no winners, and you had tons of wood outside the ground, and it was really terrible. Sorry, there's one more or 2 more COVID, and then we are done. Huh? I mean, This was the specific COVID also was sad. There was some specific COVID quarters in cemeteries. That's the Muslim cemetery next to ITO. Cremation, not cremation, cemetery, burial ground, which was working already full time. No, that's the same place, but I was I like the composition and the no, I think that's the last with COVID, but the what struck me was the anonymity also. The corpse of people would come just with a telephone number on it and in a bag, and the family would not be able to open it, and just to check to see a last time the disease was something I thought was very very sad, very moving. Well, that's lighter. That's just a small landscape. That's Ladakh, and I love Ladakh. But this one, I was totally struck by the I would say the absurdity of the instinct to own property. I mean, you have a total barren land in Ladakh. I mean, there's nothing you can grow, but for no known reason, I mean, there's an individual who decided that he is going to build a wall to protect his barren land, and it was not the army. I've been told it was a public property. It's totally nonsense, but it makes good photo because of black and white. It's perfect. So thanks to him, you can shoot good photo. I should go faster because I want to see Raghu's photo. That's Ladakh, and with some wrecks of cars. I mean, I'm always very supportive and involved for environment and things. And I think you have the most beautiful landscape in the world in India, and you protect greatly animal life like anywhere else in the world. But sometimes we need also to continue to protect. But there's such a great respect in this country for animal life. That's the only trouble I had ever with my staff at the embassy when I arrived. The first week, as a good Frenchman, there were some ants on my terrace, so I started to try to get rid of them. And I've been told it's yeah, I would never do it again in India. So. Yeah, that's the. I shot a few pictures about street jobs, and because I think many things happen in the street in India for good. Also, sadly, people are living in the street, but it's so lively. And sometimes I like also the some ambiguity. I don't understand, perceive at first what people are doing. I need to get into it. And this was in Old Delhi. There was a guy who was mending or repairing some dolls. Babies there. I mean, the scene was a bit awkward at first, and it happens quite often, I think. Same. It's Old Delhi, and I was very moved by the way some people during that tough period looked at me. Because in Europe, I would say, when people are not well off, when they are in misery, they are angry with you. They are revolted, angry, And in India, you can, I don't know, I read in them some despair, but tenderness also. I think they are, I don't know, maybe Raghu is more, obviously more knowledgeable about that, but I think it's, I don't know if it's karma, if it's fate, I have no explanation. I'm too new in the country, but I think that it's a big difference in the way they would look at you. But then I didn't shoot too many pictures like this, because I think it's a bit obscene for a photographer, I must say. And you carry a camera which is worth years of living and resources for these people, and then you go back to you steal from them the only thing they have, their look, their dignity, and then you go back to your comfortable place. So I refrain to shoot too much, but I think it's quite a difference. Okay. This one I thought it was fun. I mean, who could imagine that you would take a nap like this on a grave in a cemetery in Ahmedabad? I feel there's some capacity to find place for nap, which is quite something incredible. But the guy was totally comfortable with that, with me shooting a picture of him. He thought it was totally natural to be there at that time and taking a nap. I was talking about the ambiguity, like with the kid with the doll. Same. I mean, there are many instances. I feel that it could be in a movie or something. There's something just happened. You don't know exactly what, but it's slightly ambiguous, and I have that feeling a lot when I go through the streets. Looks very dangerous. I'm still there. Huh? It's turned out okay, but. I think we're done. The good pictures now. Raghu. Thank you.
Thank you, Lan.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
See, he has so many stories with his pictures, and I click and I forget what I have been shooting. But here I can tell you that this was one of those. What place? Yeah. You see, the trees are usually green, the rocks were light, but this rock was much darker, and then the trees topping it. So what I have done is, while making a print, I have made the trees lighter and softer, and the rock almost dark black, being stopped by the tree. The visual power of it, you know.
But that's where you see a great photographer. I mean, he took a scene which is pretty ordinary, and he turned it into a great picture. Just being very cautious, very observant of the contrast and the lines and the things. It's really impressive.
And that is, I have spent 55 years, you know, searching, exploring, and visualizing how a situation converts into a powerful image. Do I press this one?
Yeah, the right way. Yeah.
You know, we have many beggars, but no country is free of that.
That is sure.
And the statues above, and his eye and hands, you know, they create certain expression. Now, look at this old lady, you know. All those people sitting on the stairs of this big monument, and the car passing by, and look at the loneliness of this woman. I was sitting and having coffee in the restaurant just nearby. I saw this lady and I couldn't resist. I said, oh, how painful is that, you know. This is, what is Mano, Montmartre?
Sacré-Cœur, Montmartre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, in 1996, La Figaro, the big magazine, they invited 6 photographers from different parts of the world to photograph Paris. And they assigned me this area that I was photographing, and Meeta was with me, and she remembers more details about architecture and the places, being a conservation architect herself. Thank you. This is on the steps, and the way this child on the right hand is responding, and the whole space and the sky. You know, the skies, the clouds, the life around you belongs to who? The one who makes himself available mentally, physically and spiritually, and ready to receive the experience. So it's my clouds, my sky, in my space, and these are my people that I love in those moments. So when you see, I have always boasted that I photograph only in my own country, but unknowingly on my travels I managed to photograph rest of the world. And then I asked myself this question, that my country, my people, what about people are people, human energies and expressions, eventually we are all the same. We might look physically different in physically different realities, you know. This is also the same place, you know, when I was doing my assignment for La Figaro. And the pigeons there are so closely connected with the life and everybody else, and especially children. Yeah, this was in 2007 when I had to have a show in Arts Festival, a retrospective.
Paris is not like this every day, huh?
And, you know, we were staying in Paris for 3 days, and me, my wife, my daughters, we come out of the house to the main road, and this is what I see. Mind-boggling for me. Hindustani आदमी यूरोप में पहुंच गया है, and there is a gay parade happening right in front of you. I had never seen or imagined anything like this.
What I like in the pictures, this one and the following about the gay pride, I mean, usually photographers will shoot color and put a lot of effect and and Raghu has gone for the black and white with very composed. I mean, it's heavily composed, and it's perfectly
Has
done.
to come into, every element has to come into certain rhythm and relationship.
And this is very original, I think, to portray the gay pride.
You see, we can be very strange, we can be very odd, situations can be very ironic. So the image has to capture either the mystery of things or reveal the magic of daily life in a way which is on the edge. And they say, those who are not living on the edge are wasting space. So please remember that. This is same part of the same procession. Look at these beauties. People say they are fake, but they are very real to me. And the hand here, and the sculpture there, and the street scene. Yeah. The form of the car, the form of the poster guy, and this girl going, and the traffic. You know, you catch these fleeting moments, and the forms, textures, and details, they create certain kind of tension and relationship. This is in Strasbourg. Some kind of Mela festival was going on, but the very strange structures and architecture that got created in the process. This is in a big storehouse in Paris. The sense of design and rhythm.
It looks like Galerie Lafayette, yes. Yes.
And this is in Paris.
That's
People doing their
that's French yoga.
French yoga, and the clouds and the trees and the forms created in the whole space, looks very powerful, magical experience of the whole space. Look at this girl, her hands going up and the cloud coming out. See the journey, see the relationship. This nuance is very important for me, the way her movement and the cloud moving out from behind the building. These are visual interpretations of ordinariness of daily life, which has magic points, that those dots you have to connect in order to say something little more than what usually one connects to. Where are you? Yeah. Everywhere in Paris, you see artists sitting there making portraits. And I was standing very close to this lady and that guy waiting to be portrayed. And then she turned, and the whole structure of the faces from left to the middle to the right side and right bottom, the structure gets created of its own kind. You see, sometimes people say, ask me, what were you thinking when you were taking this picture? Or today's world, there is a kind of a very well planned, programmed pictures being done. My pictures happen as life begins to move for itself in certain rhythm and magic. I do not think only banyas, politicians, maybe scientists think. Artists only feel and understand the moving energy and aura of people, how it comes together as an artist. This museum, they said photography was not allowed. I was horrified, but since my wife and my daughters were already in, so I had to follow them, because anywhere in my country, in big temples or mosque or a church or anywhere, if they say you can go in but you can't take pictures, you have to leave the camera behind, then the God does not exist for me. So for me, my dharam is my photography, my camera. And here I took my camera was with me, and they said, please don't shoot. I said, okay, I won't. And suddenly I see this guy with those hands like the Christ lying down. How could I not have shot this?
Well, it's a good thing that you kept your camera.
And look at the aliveness of this family and the people and the structure. And the clouds, clouds is part of my life, and nature makes sure that whenever I need them, they turn up, I'm not boasting, No, because you have to become a part of the whole scenario. And you don't exist anymore individually. When you are part of the whole, then the whole begins to perform for you. Am I making any sense, or is it's too strange? Thank you. Look at that. Where is the sculpture? Where are the people? Everybody is mingled and mixed together. I mean, these are the magic things, happen in France, in Paris especially. Their art world is so amazing and mind-boggling. So from left to right, from foreground to background, everywhere there are limbs and bodies and expressions, things merging with each other.
I like this photo very much also. I mean,
Will you buy it?
You can't see the difference and the between people and art, and I love the idea that just people are just living every day or walking among works of art. I wouldn't say without.
Quietly, I took several pictures. Then about 2 months back, we got a call from a friend in Strasbourg that this musician passed away and his family, if you've taken any pictures, so I sent them this photograph, you know. So my, it's not one-way traffic. I try to keep a contact with the life that has given me some great moments and feelings. This is my dear friend Sebastian Salgado, one of the greatest photographers, originally from Brazil, lives in Paris, and he's a very simple, beautiful, loving, great photographer. This is Bruno Barbi, again, Magnum photographer. Few months back, he died of a sudden heart attack. So I sent this picture to Catherine Barbi, his wife, so that I have some connection again. I think this is it. Thank you very much for being so patient.